See, worship is where we are lifting up people into the presence of God. We are lifting up ourselves and we are lifting up others, and we do all that we can to lift as many people into the presence of God as possible, using methods and music and needs to do so. Churches that aspire to have passionate worship work diligently and hard to deepen spiritual life and to improve the quality of worship to help people connect to God. Passion and excitement for worship. What does that mean? One of the images that is burned into my mind is of a little girl, several of the children actually, but one in particular. And she is the granddaughter of some folks in our church that was here for Vacation Bible School, and we had, of course, the CD player here at the front of the church, and the youngest kids were in this row, and they kept going back older and older as they went back the pews. And one of the songs that they learned is called Ancient Words. And the day that it was introduced, the music on its very first chord, I saw some of these youngest children raise their arms up, and their faces tilted up to the sky, their eyes closed, and they went like this. Is that worship? The music so touched their life already that they were in the presence of God, and they knew that they had to show it. Now, I'm not going to lie, there are styles of music that I don't care for. And I know that I have played music at the church that not everyone has been too keen on. But what I do realize is that as I look at these young folks up here, the styles of music that they are going to grow into will probably make my ears hurt. It will probably set my teeth on edge. But if they come to me as a pastor and say, we have this song and the words are perfectly appropriate for worship and will lead them into worship, then I as a pastor need to enable them to have that opportunity to be in worship through their music. Likewise with prayer. Personally, most of my prayer time is spent sitting. I am seated with my hands folded. But there are times when what I want to offer to God is so important to me that my hands end up going like this. And if I've really got something that I'm thankful for, it's not unusual for my head to go all the way back and I stare straight up at the sky. Am I worshiping? When we think about the church, John Wesley had one fear for Methodists. He did not fear that they would cease to exist. His fear is that they would exist as a dead people, having the form of church, but not the spirit of church. Passionate worship. Allowing yourself to give the entirety of who you are to God. And we need to prepare for it. Remember, I talked last week a little bit within Sunday school that we know that kids that are in Little League, what do they do if they want to become better at the sport? They practice. They catch grounders, pop flies, they throw the ball to each other. Now, the Major League Baseball players, when they go in at the beginning of the season and they're getting ready to start for the season, what do? My person is being quiet this time. They practice. Practice what? They practice throwing the ball, catching grounders, catching pop flies. The exact same thing. They practice it. When we practice and prepare ourselves for worship, we need to do things to get ourselves involved with it. We have been working on daily devotions that hopefully you are reading, and they are supposed to prepare us for the worship that we are having. As I was reading through them this week, some of the things that came to my mind was God touch the lives of not just myself, but others. God, may the words and the meditations and the preparations that I as the pastor have brought forward be what you desire to be proclaimed. May the people, as they leave the place, be so filled with your Spirit that they are proclaiming the words that you want them to proclaim. God, bring us into this place with a sense of urgency, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. I'm passionate for the lives of the people around us. I want them to know who God is. And so we need to take who God has told us he is to the lives of others so that they may be in his presence. And when that happens, we are in worship. We prepare for it by studying the Word, by prayer and meditation, taking that time before worship in silence to let go of what the outside world is holding on to us with. To join together with others who are not like us, which brings us back into our gospel lesson. God, I have come to church and I am dressed appropriately. I have sung the correct hymns. I have prayed in the appropriate posture. I have given my money in the plate with my envelope as I should. I have done all of the things that I know people expect me to do for worship. And I am grateful that I have done it in such a dignified manner, that I have come to church not wearing torn clothes, that I've come to church shaven and clean. I have come to church somber and appropriate. Not like some of these kids that show up with loud music and rips in their pants in places that it doesn't belong. And I've been in worship where I've seen teenagers dressed in ways that we do not like. Kneeling beside bleachers, crying, God, forgive me. I know what I've done in my life, and I'm sorry. Coming to worship and dressing the right way isn't worship. It's being honest with who we are. I am a sinner, redeemed and saved by God's grace. And that's all that I can ever hope to be, is a sinner saved by grace. Thanks be to God that he has taught me that through his word. Amen.